Hello and welcome to Promenade Culture Center. This is Culture Corner. We bring you the authentic stories of creative individuals. We have a unique episode today because we are, for the first time, hosting two guests. Lovely ladies who are co-founders and creative directors of Thuna, Altaf and Mudhayan, and Sharifa and Suleity. Welcome to Promenade Culture Center and Culture Corner.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Of course, and thank you for finding some time to share your creative journey with us. We like to highlight the unique individual stories of creative individuals who bring a positive social change. And that is definitely the two of you. So I would like for us, if you agree, to delve into your childhoods. Can you tell us more about potentially the creative paths you found back then? What were your interests, your hobbies, and did you ever dream of being what you are today? Any of you, whatever you like to start.
So for me, I didn't have any specific hobby, but I tried so many things. It's a lot of trial and error. I had some interest in decoration, and my aunt always says you have to be an interior designer. Go to Italy, learn interior design. So that was part of my childhood, but I didn't do any wild creative things or attached to a certain hobby. It was a lot of so many things. Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
For me, I think it was again, I think similar to Sharifa, it wasn't something specific. I remember my childhood revolved around a lot of Barbie dolls. I used to, and I think I loved the storytelling part of playing with the Barbie dolls. And, every time it's a new story, they're on a new adventure. And I used to play until I think I was 13, which is quite old. And I still have them.
Oh, I still have dolls.
Yeah, I still have them stored. They're very sacred to me. And then other than that, I think with school, I enjoyed arts and crafts and I think in general, I was a very curious kid. And until today, I'm just very curious. I like to try new things. Yeah, I never stuck with one thing, but I love to try and experiment.
But I see how exactly it tracks to today, your storytelling and your playing with Barbies, because it reflects in your campaigns, your designs.
Yeah.
So a lot of people we've spoken to say that they had their own interests, but that they couldn't imagine themselves, or looking back, they cannot see the stemming of what they are today. Mm-hmm. However, a lot of it has to do with school and families, because a lot of them faced obstacles when wanted to express their creativity. How was school for you?
So I went to a public school, and unfortunately, art and culture was not very encouraged at my school. So I wasn't that exposed to it as a young kid at school, but definitely traveling. At home, our houses growing up were completely different than the very modern houses that we have right now. The mosques, the museums that we go to, as a kid, you have to go to a museum in any country or city that you visit. So even the experience was completely different as a child. And I think that was mostly my exposure to art and culture. I think it was through traveling. We used to go to Lebanon a lot in summers. So those beautiful houses, those beautiful.
And you guys do road trips.
We do a lot of road trips. So I've seen south, north of Lebanon. I've been to their houses. So it was very interesting as a child. The appreciation of art there and the culture. It's amazing. It's mesmerizing. Yeah.
Altaf, did you find school environment supportive or family?
Not, I wouldn't say not so much. So I went to a private school. So we did have the option of after school activities that if anyone is interested, whether it's theater, whether it's I think embroidery and arts and that kind of stuff. But I think as I grew up older in school, these things kind of fell off, and it was just maybe sports and studying. That was it, and the arts kind of fell
behind.
Fell behind. And then at home, I don't think I've had that kind of maybe encouragement or like I would say exposure as well to art or culture. Like even when I graduated, like I wanted actually to go into journalism for university, but it was like no, like it's not
It's
a
not a
path.
proper profession.
Yes, it's not a proper profession, and I was like a straight A student, so it was like no, you need to go either. If you don't want medical school, then you should go to engineering, and I ended up in engineering.
So many stories like
Yes, yes,
this.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then I found,
And it's still like that.
yeah. Unfortunately, to my surprise, that it's still like that, even with the younger generation, where they are more exposed with like their phones and social media to so many things in the world.
I think it's still the influence of parents, and what my parents have practiced with me, giving me full option. I even went to enroll in high school, and I enrolled in something totally different from what I told them. Just gave them back the info. I'm trying to do with my kids now. There's no happiness in
Yeah.
not choosing what you want.
Yeah.
And obviously you can be mistaken, but you can try again. But I'm curious now, was there any moment where you've actually tackled entrepreneurship when you were younger? Did you maybe think of campaigns, or maybe did a little fundraising for school? Or can you remember anything that was entrepreneurship actually at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like for me, I used to have a table that I set outside my house, and I would sell everything
Oh, okay.
that I have
That's a
at
true
home.
spirit.
And then I would convince my friends that comes that you can use this to play. Do you remember the pizza? There was like the plastic white thing.
Ah, yes,
and then
in
I
the
would
middle.
convince them that this is a chair for your Barbie.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I would sell it, like I've never
That's a
shared this
good
story before. But I had a lot of
Thank you for this jewel of
experiments.
information. Yeah, this is genius. I
Yeah,
love
that
it.
was
I
that
love
was
it.
funny. Yeah.
So definitely that
Yeah.
is a step into.
Yeah, I don't remember if they bought it or not, but
Okay.
like I remember trying to convince them that it's a chair.
Okay, okay.
This is a chair for your Barbie.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I
How
think
about
for
you?
me, like I was in the student council in high school, so I think that was my first experience in organizing like events and doing stuff at school. And then also in university, I was also part of like a student committee where we would, do different types of events and activities. And then also over the summer, I would always do like an internship or something like that, whereas my other friends were not. They were either traveling or not doing anything, just spending the summer at home. So I think I had this eagerness to do and to explore from probably from high school. Yeah.
And you've mentioned you studied engineering. Sharifa, you did market
Finance. Yeah.
finance. Okay, so give or take, both give you something back. And I'd like to know about the things you've learned in college that you still use today, some skills or maybe some tips or tricks, or if it gave you discipline and so on. It would be, I want to relate it somehow to what you're doing today.
Yeah.
So for me, I went to business school, so it's kind of relatable to what I'm doing right now. The finance for sure, accounting. I wouldn't say marketing because we didn't really study back then. We didn't really study like digital marketing. It wasn't a thing. But definitely the finance and accounting part is a big role, and it's a big role of my involvement in the company as well.
Yeah, she's the numbers girl.
Yeah. The Excel sheet.
And
is my-
Oh, I will forever be in quarrel with Excel sheet.
Exactly. I feel you.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, did you practice what you studied? Did you work? You worked in different places. This is how I met you,
Yes.
actually. Yes. Can you share a bit about that? Because I'm trying to figure out a moment where you realize there's something better than this. There's something more for me than this.
Yeah, so I did try so many things. So I was in kind of finance sector for 5 minutes. And then I moved
That
to
was honest,
Yeah.
And then I moved to oil and gas in Kuwait, which is like a job that no one can say no to. Stayed for 3 years, and then I decided this is not for me. I wasn't happy. I was miserable, going to work every day. Um, so I decided to just take some time off. My brother was in the States at that time. So I went to the States. I stayed there for a couple of months. I like Ramadan was there, and my dad was also cooking, and my dad was with me. And I started going to my dad loves cooking, so I went to the kitchen and I tried to prepare some meal. It's like, oh, this is fun. And then I tried to learn how to cook. I took some courses. I got like fancy knives. And then I was like obsessed every day, morning to night, just cooking, 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 cooking. And I do have passion for food. And my friend was like, I'm like my family are starting a new business in F&B. Do you want to be part of it? It's like, yes, for sure. And then I had a reason to go back home. So it's like I was so excited. I did my research there, went back home, worked with her in her family business. It was so much fun. Like we created the dishes, we worked with the chefs, we did all the research, what's happening around the world, and I loved it. I loved it. So I moved to F&B, where I'm not a chef. I don't have the skill set, but I do have that awareness of what's happening in the market. What do people like? And then I kind of bridge the gap between the chefs and the customers, and create dishes, items, the logo, the brand identity. And it was so much fun. So yeah, I worked in F&B for, I would say, 5 years, 6 years. And then I started to know Altaf.
Before we move to that crucial moment, I'd like to ask you about the same thing, about the set of skills and what college taught you, and whether you practiced engineering before you moved away.
So I think for me, so I studied industrial engineering. So it was, for me, when I chose industrial, it was the least technical, at least part of, out of all the majors of engineering, which I liked because I didn't want to get into something that's very technical. So I knew that from the start. So what I think I gained from that is, it's very like, industrial engineering is very process driven. So you think very systematically, you become very process oriented, you become very organized in your thought process and the steps, the way things should be done. And I don't know if it's by the school or like my major, or if it was also me, something that I inherently had, which is I am very process oriented. So I like things structured. I like things, that make sense, that are logical. And also, I think I learned also a few things in school, is that all of our classes, which I loved, I went to AUM in Kuwait, and all our classes were like project based. So each class, you do a project, so you work with people, and then you would put a project together. We used to visit a lot of factories, so there was also, so it was very dynamic. I would go and see on the floor actually what's happening, and then you would work on the project, and then you would present it. So it was very dynamic, and I think I liked that. So I realized, I think by the time I graduated, or maybe even now, I realized like, yes, I like process oriented things and tasks and projects. I like working with people, and I like something that's dynamic. So, but then after I graduated, I was still not sure what I wanted to do. I did an internship in an engineering firm. It was in London, and I hated it. I hated it. I was miserable. Like, it was a 6-month internship. I was miserable the entire time I was there. Even though I was in London, it was like, oh, this is so fancy. You're there. But I hated it. So then after that, I realized like I don't want to continue in, or like even pursue a career in engineering. It's too technical for me. So then the exploration happened again, which is like, okay, what do I want to do? And I have this, um, I don't think it's like this calling. It was more of a calling that I want to do something that helps other people. So whether that's something related to like charity work or working with NGOs, something along these lines. But I like that sector, even maybe like social entrepreneurship, but I like that area. So I ended up doing my master's in international development as a segue to kind of enter that field. And I did. It was also in London, and then I came back to Kuwait, and I worked in consulting for 2 years. It was a management consultancy firm. It was an international firm. We were working with the government of Kuwait to do like fiscal and economic reforms, and I loved it. I loved it. It was so exciting because everything I studied about like how do countries develop, I was here on the ground seeing how that is. And as a junior at the time, I was like going into like meetings with ministers and all that. And I was like, oh my God, this is like not okay. Like this is not normal. So I loved it. But then after a couple of years working there, I think I was ready to move on. Like I learned a lot, but I did not see myself a future in consulting specifically. And I wanted to do something that was more impactful. Like working with government, like it takes a long time to see
Yes,
change.
processes are very long.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I wanted something that's more tangible and I can see the impact.
I think it's interesting how subconsciously we know that we have to move away, even from very good jobs, even for jobs that pay well or provide you with great background, and it's just not what you really wanted.
Yes, exactly.
Which kind of brings us to that moment on how you two met. You two knew each other actually before you started working together.
Yes, we were in a summer program in 2010 together, and this is where we met.
That's quite some time now.
Yes.
It's been 15 years now.
15 almost, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so we were in this summer program together. It was a 6-week program in the summer. And it was also like very exciting, very diverse. We were visiting a lot of different places. And we worked at the end like on a project together. And I remember, and I only told Sharifa like years later, I think when we started the business together, is that during the summer program when we were on the same team in this project, and I remember looking at her and I was like, I want to work with her. And I don't know what it was.
It's an instant
but it was something like, yeah, that would be someone I want to do something with. And that's it. But then each one of us was like in a completely different career path.
But to me, Altaf was intimidating. Like, because to me, she's high caliber, you know? She's not someone that would be working with me. So this was, me thinking of Altaf.
But that was
It's funny
positive
that
too.
now, like, yeah, like you're the intimidating one and I'm the kind and sweet one.
Well, tables turn potentially. Yeah. But that's because she knows Excel sheet.
Maybe,
Because people who know that are tricky people.
Yeah.
Surely.
Maybe, that's the truth.
Maybe I should learn Excel to gain back that intimidation.
Can you put your finger on a moment where you two meet and the business happens? Because that cannot be just over 1 hour. If you can share that story with us. Yeah. Oh, great. Even better. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I think out there's a lot of people who would like to venture into something they feel and is something they want to do. I have a friend who does a lot of she's in Europe and she does a lot of different lectures and mentorship programs for people who want to finally venture into their own businesses. And I think one of the things, if I'm not mistaken, she usually says it's that idea is somewhere. It's probably in your drawer. It's in the back of your mind. So I'd like, and also shoes, did you try something before? Do you really like shoes? How did this happen? Start with when you finally met again and that spark for joint work was born.
So it started like I was in Greece in the summer, and I really loved the sandals there. And
the leather is just
amazing. The leather is amazing, the craftsmanship. And then I went to one of the stores, and literally there was a guy sitting at the back and sewing the sandal, and I was shocked because as a consumer, I didn't know how the shoes were made. I thought they just come out of a machine, you just have shoes
just in the store.
So I was really mesmerized like that moment sparked something. It's like it was beautiful the way it was stitched, and I really loved it. And I was with my friends, and we were discussing about, it's like, yeah, we don't have a lot of footwear in Kuwait, like something we miss, and we got like, you know, a couple of sandals from there. And you know, at the airport, it's like, yeah, let's do something. And then I was looking at some factories in Greece that I wanted to visit, and then, you know, it's like one of a million idea that, you know, just sparks and then dies in 5 minutes. And we never continued the conversation. One day I was, I left my job. Altaf,
That was 1 year before we actually started.
with the Greece?
The Greece
Yeah,
trip.
yeah,
Yeah,
the Greece
yeah,
trip. And then
yeah.
maybe a year later, I left my job. Altaf also left her job. We were in a friends gathering, and we were talking.
Not planned, like it was just coincidental
Yeah.
that we were
The stars
both,
aligned.
yeah, the stars aligned. Yeah, yeah.
So we were discussing about the future. What do I want to do? And you can tell your story about the weaving as well, and about craftsmanship, and you know, like just talking. You know, when you have this talk that just opens ideas. And we left the gathering together, both me and Altaf, and we're at the elevator. And I saw her shoes. I always like, you tell your story. She's a shoeholic. She has obsession with shoes. We always love her shoes. It's like, Altaf, I love your shoes. Like, yeah, thank you. I got it from this boutique. I don't know where. And then I thought, it's like, you know, I just came from Greece last summer and I saw this. And how about we start something? You know, we were talking about craftsmanship earlier. Like, how about we do something? We were literally
What a
at the
great
elevator.
moment.
And then the door opened and it's like, yes.
That's it. The business was formed.
And that's it.
That's it. So from my side, yeah, how also the conversation from my side, or where I was at the time, is that yes, I had left my job. I was looking for a new job, or like thinking about, okay, what kind of switch do I want to do? And I didn't know. Nothing was attractive for me. Nothing, you know, like made me say yes. You know, I was pursuing different opportunities, but I wasn't really excited over anything. I just wanted something new and fresh, and something that I don't know anything about. So, and I have an obsession with shoes, like from way before. Like this is where all my money goes, you know. It's not on clothes. Like I don't care about clothes. It's about the shoes. And like it's funny, like a lot of my friends from university, when they found out about Thuna and that I'm behind Thuna, they're like, oh, it's not a surprise. I'm like, what? But I never talked about
Others
like
knew before you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, but I never thought about going into fashion at all. So but in that conversation, when we were together and brainstorming, I knew I wanted to do something related to craftsmanship, and I wanted to give back to the community. And it was all from like a course that I took with Sedu House. And I was like, oh my God, there's we have this weaving that's not being preserved, and we need to put more effort. And I wanted to bridge the gap between heritage and the modern kind of consumer and their taste and what is actually attractive for them. So I wanted to do something in that space. I knew that, but I wasn't exactly sure how. And then and also the thing that I think also helped us a lot in that moment, or helped me say yes, is that I had just came back from a meditation retreat. So I was like, all possibilities are open, everything is great, everything is aligned, I can manifest anything in the world.
Yeah,
like
such
I
a
was,
great moment,
exactly.
really.
And then she told me this idea, like, why don't we start this business? And my usual self would say, let me think about it. I don't know, we need to
Calculate
plan,
everything.
calculate everything. But in that moment, because I had just came back from the meditation retreat, I was like, okay, why not?
I think everything that was in you, you wanted to work with her years before, and how you guys saw each other just kind of came to a right moment at the right time.
Yes, I think so. I think so.
I love Turkish and Greek leather and the craftsmen and craftswomen, and I have a keen interest, really. I like both shoes and bags, especially if they're really nicely done. So right prior to taping and before Sharifa joined us, I was telling Altaf I have a friend in Europe who is a shoe designer, and I think I only wear your guys' shoes. So it's either Thuna or these shoes that are called Walter shoes, or sports shoes. And I met her this past summer, and I was wearing one of your flats. And the first thing she does, she's like, "Oh, hi, hello," and her hand goes straight for my shoe, just to kind of like like a true connoisseur to check out the shoes. And she's like, "Is this Thuna?" So yeah, I try to give it a good name wherever I move.
Thank you.
So there's something also that I remember from Sadhu House, because I used to work there. Razan El Azouni did the shoes with Sadhu weaving. They were really pretty.
Really nice.
And Haya Abdul Karim did the bags with she does them in Greece.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really like a circle of, using the work of master artisans and weavers, and giving them a contemporary look is what I think is great. And what's in so many of your models, including the last collection that you have, but you will tell us yourself. So I wanted to ask you about the process. First of all, how is it to work together? And how do you, obviously you enjoy working together, and I can tell from the energy you share. But how do you share, except finances, and how do you share other assignments related to this business? And how did you come, to your first shoe, and what did that moment look like?
Let's take the story maybe back to
Yes, sure.
next steps after saying yes.
Okay.
So we did give ourselves
6 months.
6 months to fully full-time work on this, make it happen. Either we continue or we don't. I didn't want, because I did a lot of side things, I wouldn't want to do another side thing. I want to do something full-time, and Altaf as well. So we worked really hard just to make this happen, like coming up with a name, understanding, because from my previous job, I was in F&B, but in retail F&B. So I was working in product development. So I kind of knew how to start a product, but not shoes, but just a general theory of how to create a product.
The name means a pair.
Yes.
Okay, just for the English
Yes.
speaking. Yeah.
So it's derived from the word pair in Arabic. So it represents that shoes always comes in pairs, as well as the pair behind the brand. Yeah.
So yeah, we researched online, and like for me, starting a product has to come from the craftsmen themselves, understanding the craft. So we went to an exhibition where a lot of craftsmen were there, understanding what leather is, and we took a course in leather, understanding what does it mean. We also worked with I told my friend about the idea, and she's like, you know what? I was in Lebanon, and I was at my cousin's place, and someone came in and he said he's a shoe designer. It's like, what a coincidence. And we called him. It's like, he's a very technical person. He knows how to make a shoes. It's like, listen, we have an idea. This is what we want. And he made it happen, as a sketch. But what it means nothing, a sketch means nothing, and product development, especially shoes. So we went to Turkey. We knew, because we had a price point that we want to stick to, and only a few countries around the world, they do produce shoes and footwear. So Turkey was around the price point that we're looking for. So we went to Turkey with the sketch. I want to make the shoes, no. The amount of rejection we faced, it's just crazy. It's like, no. And so it's like, just with their hand.
Why? Was it the design you had, or did they feel like you two are?
Yeah, no, for them, they are constantly approached by new designers that don't continue or go through with, so for them, it's a headache. And they would rather just sell you a ready-made product that is already there, just place an order, and then that's it, we'll give it to you.
And those first, if I remember well, but please correct me, those first models were not terribly locally inspired, right?
Yes.
They were just universal shoes.
Yes. So the first collection, we did it as a test, was curated, it wasn't designed, because no one agreed to do our designs. So it's like, let's test it. Maybe people doesn't want to buy shoes.
And then even the people who told us yes, they would like, yeah, come to my factory and then you can see. And because they wanted to convince us to buy something that they already have instead of producing something from scratch. So we visited so many factories.
Like more than 50, literally.
Like it's so like I can't even remember like and
The places
and the
we went to.
places like I don't know like I keep telling her like thank God we were not kidnapped. Like it was that like because it was very new, we don't
What
know
kept
these
you
people.
going?
I don't know.
I think the challenge. I don't know, the challenge probably. Yeah.
And because you don't know, I think this is also part of the both the struggle and the beauty is that when it's unknown, you don't know. So there's no room for disappointment because you're constantly hoping. Like, he told us that maybe if we can push him, we can convince him, then let's go. But we didn't know that the answer was like a dead end. Like it's not, he's not going to say yes, you know? But I think the naiveness we had.
Yeah, the naiveness. Yeah.
Kept us, keep pursuing.
Which is such a strength.
Yeah. And also, like, I think with shoes, this point about naiveness, like, some people are like, like your shoes are interesting, they're different than what's in the market. And we're like, yeah, because we have not been trained in design school and we've been put in a box that a shoes always has to be this way. We're always like, this looks nice. Why don't we do this? Why don't we don't know what the boundaries are. We are just exploring, and then this is why the product ends up looking maybe different than what's already commonly available in the market.
It's not easy to make comfortable shoes, and yours are really comfy. I bought the biker boots, I received them, and I left that night on a trip to the Netherlands, and for the next week I was in them. As if I was wearing them forever. So that's I think that attracted me. So I love the story behind the brand, what I knew at the time. I loved it was a female business. I loved obviously the design. But that level of comfortable wearing just kind of bought me. And then obviously it's a love story. Yeah, really is. Do tell us more about how you came to actual first shoe and holding it in the hands. I want to hear about that,
you can
please.
continue the story.
Yeah. So the first collection was curated because we couldn't transform our sketches and designs into reality.
And in the time we wanted also.
Yeah.
Because we had a deadline, so it needed to launch
yes.
at a specific time.
So we got like 100 pieces of different designs just to test. And they were sold out in a month. And we were like, what? We have money. What can we do?
What
Like,
now?
and then we
Keep in mind, we started with no investment, no money, no nothing. It was literally our personal savings.
You invested your own,
But it was
very minimal.
Very minimal amount. Like it's not something big at all.
Yeah.
So because again, we did not know if it's gonna work, so we don't want to put anything. And we had just left our job, so we don't have our savings is just to keep us, afloat.
So we went back with
more sketches.
More sketches, and one factory did believe in us. He's like, "Oh wow, you came back."
This is in Turkey still.
In Turkey, It's like, "Wow, you came back." And he was like, "I like your energy." And in Turkey, I was driving, so it's like you were driving here. Like people from Turkey, they don't know, they cannot drive to my factory, and you were driving to the factory. It's like
he was
okay,
shocked.
I'll give you.
We told him like we'll come, but he didn't believe us. So then we're like, hello, please, can you open the gate? We're here. Like, what? You're here? You're really here? And you're driving too?
You're a dangerous woman.
Dangerous woman. You're a dangerous woman.
Dangerous woman. And his English was poor, but yeah. So it's like, yeah, I'll give it a shot, like, and he did create our first collection. It was beautiful. We had embroidery in that collection. So many things.
So it's heritage inspired.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The bisht, we used like the bisht embroidery and did really well. But
it was for Ramadan as well.
It was for Ramadan.
So it was like perfectly timed, and the story also fit with the Ramadan season.
So you both alike and invest in knowing local culture and heritage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that goes along with the collections,
Yes.
from what I
Yes.
see.
Yes.
That's very important. I'll go a few steps back. When we sat together, we said like we both come from corporate world, and we wanted an everyday shoes that is stylish, comfortable. Price point is, I would say, we call it
Affordable
luxury, high quality, and then that tells a story. It's like these things that we wanted in one pair of shoes, and it was very hard to accomplish all these in one pair. So this was like from the start what we wanted to do. So you'll see like every collection has a story, cultural, something from the heritage.
How do you see your customer? Who is it? Who is she? Is she many different women?
So I just want to continue Sharifa's point. When we designed
Please do.
our own collection, and when we actually, it was our own designs.
Oh yes, that's what I wanted to
Yeah.
ask.
So when we first had the 100 pieces in stock that got sold, like all the names that came on the website were like, I know her, I know she's the cousin of, I don't know. So like they're familiar names. So we're like, okay, our family and friends are supporting us. That's very cute. But we were still not sure, like, do we count it as a success that there's demand, or is it not? But then with our own collection, when we launched in Ramadan, then we started seeing new names of people that we don't know, not even like close, nothing. Like, okay, there's something. We don't know these people. And this is when we were like, okay, I think we can stick beyond 6 months to this idea.
That's very good.
Yeah.
And do you think so? I want to ask again. How do you see your buyer, your customer? And it's probably not one face. It's probably different kind of women. So I'm interested in that. And also, if you can maybe tell me about the mission you have with this business.
So you want to talk about the customer?
Yeah. You talk about the mission then.
Okay.
Agreed.
So our customer, although she might look different, but her struggles are the same. So we always say that we're problem solvers. We do care, like when we talk about the customer, we put the pinpoints first. Like, what are her struggles? What does she do? What are the common ideas they
What's
have?
her day like?
What's her day
Yeah.
like? So we do see ourselves as problem solvers, and we do design shoes that can accommodate the lifestyle of every woman. Like in our I would say region.
Yeah.
So she's dynamic, she's multifaceted, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's traveling, she's working, she's a homestay mom, that they all need comfortable.
student.
She's a student that they all need comfortable shoes that they can wear from day to night. We are very social here in the region, so when I wear something to work, it means it's the same shoes I can wear to my friends gathering at night when I go. So we do have this segment when we work on marketing, but when in design perspective, we don't have that segment because the struggles are the same. And this is what we found more relatable, and this is like how we kind of made it here in the market.
And then also, like, when it comes to comfort, like something that was at the beginning, like, but we only realized it later on, is that people were like, oh my God, they're so comfortable, they're so comfortable. And we're like, really? Like, this is what you really like about it? Like, this is the first comment that we always get. And then we're like, it's comfortable because we are trying it on our own feet, So we are the feet of the people in the region. We are not a European or Italian feet.
Yeah.
We are, the people's feet, literally. you know? So it's like, yes, then we started realizing like people find it comfortable because the problems are different with the feet here in the region. Like we have more flat foot, more of a high instep. It's wider in general, just because, and it has
It's really
nothing to
thought
do.
through. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with weight. You know, it's just like the structure, the way we are built. Even the calves are much wider. So like Italian boots, no way they're gonna close on people here, and this is like a constant struggle.
I'm so glad you do 41, which is my size. Because I can tell you, I had to have, now it would be lovely, but that was just, so when I had my elementary school prom, I had to have like a designer cobbler, so to speak, make shoes for me, like fancy shoes, because 41 in nice shoes was not something you could easily find.
Yes, yes.
I'm very glad that you have this size. This is my exact size.
Now we have people complaining that are 42, and then we have people complaining that are 35 or even 34.
Oh,
So
that's
like the
smaller
two,
than what you do.
the
Mhm.
smaller and the bigger are always reaching out to us like, please expand your range size. And we're like, okay, we're working on it. Like, yeah.
I'm so glad about that. And the mission, like, you can also tell me whether you are now or you feel you're reaching that place you were hoping in the beginning. Obviously, brand will grow, you will grow, but are you on the right path?
I think, like, definitely, I think the mission, as you said, like, it keeps evolving. And I think when we first started, it's not, and maybe even like 2 years ago, maybe it's not as clear as how it is right now. And then maybe in 2 years, it will also change. But I think for us, yes, it's serving customers in the local region, but I think, and providing them a product and a brand they can relate to, they can wear, they can enjoy. But I think it's also much bigger than that in a few different ways. So one is we also want to be an example that we do have talent in the region that can be equally relevant to any other international brand. So we do have the talent. It's just about paving the way or finding the way. Like this is something that we struggle with, which is we don't have examples. We don't have people who are in the similar industry
the
that
mentors,
have
potential
the
mentors, yeah.
like, you know, like just as a simple example, like we want to do wholesale. How do you do wholesale as a fashion brand, as a young fashion brand? Like, how do you do that? Who can I go to talk to tell me you need to have 1, 2, 3 in place to be able to secure wholesale orders, you know? And this is just like a tiny, tiny
Yeah, it feels
example.
pioneering in a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, you know, scratching and figuring ourselves the way out, but we also want to, you know, also encourage people who are maybe they've been doing something much longer than us to kind of see that the potential of the world is so much bigger and they can, you know, there is also demand for, you know, their work internationally and not just locally. And then also another thing that we love, and it's also part of our mission, is that we love to, I don't want to use the word empower women, but I don't know what any other word is also a good fit. So because I feel like it's so cliche and so, but it's much more like we want to help women who want to do something. And it doesn't have to be entrepreneurship. It can be whatever it is they want. We don't believe that everyone should be an entrepreneur and that this is the only path. No, no, no. It depends on what do you want to do. The choices are endless, but how can you live a life that's true to you and that's true to your potential and your aspirations and your passions? So we love to, this is also part of our mission that we are, I think we do it in small bits and pieces here and there right now, but I think as the brand grows and we have more capacity, we'd love to, you know, be able to help other women as well on their own personal journeys.
Yeah, we just to add to that, yeah, we do have a North Star. We don't know what it is yet. We've always talked about it. We don't know what is the form of it, but
We know what it is, but we don't know what the form is.
yeah, we know what it is.
Yeah.
We don't know what's the form of it, but definitely it's bigger than just a product that we.
And it's interesting because like our two, but like again, our backgrounds are different. But for example, I knew I wanted to work with artisans and artisanal women specifically. And in the shoe industry, it's limited. You don't have a lot of artisanal.
It's men mostly,
It's
right?
mostly
I know
men.
that's the same situation in Europe.
Exactly. So I know I want to help women in that part. And then Sharifa, in her nature, Like if anyone calls her, she'll help, she'll connect them to whoever she knows, and she'll go out of her way to do that, to help that friend, or even not, she doesn't even need to be a friend, but she has this in her nature. So it's like, okay, I want to help, you know, like women, and you want to help like women as well. So like, oh my God, like we are working towards the same mission ultimately. And this only became apparent for us maybe like 3 years ago, not even when we first started. Yeah.
How is success defined? And do you even need to define a successful moment in your business, or maybe a personal success? How do you grow as individuals and then contribute to your business? Because we are, but we are also not our work.
Yes, exactly. It's very, and then when you have your own business, it's more integrated and enmeshed in you.
I think it's defined differently for me and Altaf. Like for me, when like a moment of success would be seeing the team growing and evolving, managing bigger projects, growing within a structure that we have created. You know, you create something and then you see people there improving and growing there. To me, I always try to take a zoom out and just look at the bigger picture and the impact that we're, you know, of every moment, every decision that we've done. And it's to me, it's what it's a moment that I would define as success, and it's what I need in terms of success is the impact you see in other people that you work with.
And for you, Altaf?
For me, I think on a professional level, it would be like, we're about to now go on like we do this work retreat at the end of each year to plan for the next few years, and then we do that to evaluate the past year and what has happened, and then what our priorities are, and if anything needs to be updated. But one thing that I really enjoy seeing is that whenever we have a plan or have something set in place, sometimes you're going in the daily kind of motion of like, oh, this is not working out, there's a bottleneck here, it's not happening, and all of that. But then when you again zoom out, you realize like, oh my God, this happened because we have been putting our energy, not even our, I mean, yes, there's effort involved, but I feel like there's also something bigger than us. Like it's a collective energy and intention and clarity that we're working towards, and then it happens. And sometimes, like, it's crazy how things just fall into place that you've been maybe working for a long time, and then all of a sudden, like the puzzles fit. So that for me is success. Like, you know, yes, we did something, we planned, we wanted it, we have an intention for it, and we have like funny and weird and scary stories about that, like the power of intention and the power of just wishing for something and then it happens. And then there are other stories where no, you need to put your blood, sweat, and tears
into
to
it
make it
for
happen.
it to happen. Yeah.
But I think, like for me, that is very humbling and makes me feel very grateful. And then on a personal level, I would say I would define success is that, you know, like, am I living a life that's true to me? And then do I also have the freedom in my life today? You know, whether it's like flexible schedule, or like if I want to take some time off, I can, or whether I want to, I don't know, like if I want to, this period of time, I want to work remotely and see how that I feel about. But having this luxury, for me, is a measure of success. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, who else is there in Thuna? And how you, given that you work with a lot of craftsmen and potentially women, what is your ethos towards them, and how you make sure that each person is treated equally and with respect in when you depend so much on artisanal work?
So there's an army in Thuna.
There's a village.
There's a village. Currently, where the team is 25 people.
Wow.
Yes. In Kuwait, France, Pakistan, in Turkey. Yeah,
This
that's
is a
Yeah.
very interesting information. Yeah,
Yes,
it's so great to
yes.
hear
Yeah.
this.
So the way we do it, like one thing we like the hardest thing in entrepreneurship is hiring. The
Oh
hardest.
yes.
So
Anywhere, trust me.
Yeah.
so for us, what we did,
And in
it's like
Kuwait specifically.
Yeah, it's a narrow.
so what we did is we would look for good people,
Talented people. Yeah.
Yeah,
in
people
any,
you
like,
feel you want to work with.
someone you
Yeah.
feel you want to work with, someone you feel that your energy matches, and then we would create the role for them. So we don't look into a job description
Yes,
and
yes.
CVs, and
Very interesting
because
approach.
this is
Yeah.
very
A bit outdated also.
it's a bit
Yeah.
outdated. It works for corporates maybe, but
Yeah,
not
yeah.
for a smaller team. So if there's someone that we feel would add value to the team, is that we will hire them, and then we would customize the job description to their skill set, and then it's not something set in stone. It's very dynamic. They would come a year later. It's like, I want to move to this. I want to focus on this. I want to learn more about this. It's like very dynamic. Everyone feels has this ownership towards the company, so we don't have this hierarchy kind of situation. Everyone is kind of it's beautiful that you create something and you are responsible and owner of that department, that system, that customer service, that marketing campaign, that photo, that styling.
I think the research clearly says that what will make people happy at work is feeling proud of what they do,
Yeah.
feeling appreciated, and liking the people they work with.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So
It's not if you give them food or, perks of different kinds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like even now as the team is growing, whenever we hire someone, this is also now a new question. Like, would they fit with the culture? Would they fit with everybody that's already in the team?
Yeah, you already know.
Yes, yes.
So we've created a culture that we're not يعني like easy to give up or
An
We're very
organizational
protective of
culture is
the-
in place.
Yeah. We're very protective of it. Like if someone comes and then we're like, oh no, the culture.
No, but then this balance is much needed, and everybody needs to be
And
comfortable
then
working with
also
each
when
other.
it comes to outside of our team, with the manufacturers, with the partners we work with, like for example, with the manufacturers, we visit all the factories. We know the working condition of the workers, so we know what's how they are being treated, how they are, and of course how and where they are sourcing, the raw materials.
This is what I wanted to ask you, given that you use natural materials. Yes, about sustainability as well.
Yes. So the majority of our leathers today are sourced by, they're called the Leather Working Group certified tanneries, which means that they use sustainable practices to dye the leather, because this causes a lot of pollution, and it has so many issues, the chemicals and the dyes that they use. So we make sure that the majority of our leathers are sourced from LWG certified tanneries. And then, yeah, of course, like we know the owner, because with shoes, and I think like with any craftsmanship work, like it's not a factory that's like so, so big. I mean, some of them are, but usually we know the owner of the factory, where we sit with them, we sit with their management, we sit with the artists. So on all
their
levels,
families.
their families, they would
So
invite
it's very
us.
family oriented.
Yeah.
Space and family owned, usually 2 or 3 generations. So we attend their weddings. We bring sweets from Kuwait.
Yeah. Oh, the best gift. Yeah.
Yeah, they gift us as well. So it's more of a
Relationship.
If you're a customer, you're not a customer. You're a family member there. So this is also beautiful, building those relationships with these artisans.
Yeah, it's just firms this bond. Of all the areas in your business, communication, design, finances, do you kind of naturally divide them, or are you involved equally in everything? Now you have a large team, which I didn't know. So I'm sure a lot of people are just like employed to do certain things. But how do you divide this? So you don't overlap each other.
So
And yeah.
at the beginning, we used to do everything equally. Like literally, it's me, Altaf, in a room this size.
Probably this size, yeah. Smaller, I think smaller.
Smaller, two
Yeah.
desks, two laptops. The stock is in the same
Behind
room
us, the
behind
100
us.
shoes, yeah.
Of course.
Taking the orders, packing the orders, customer service, the marketing, the photo shoots were in our friends' houses, the models were our friends.
Yeah.
We did A to Z ourselves. And then as the business grew, we tried to...
COVID happened, so
COVID happened, yeah.
We took the office to her house, and we were working from there.
And then we...
Adaptable. That's
yes.
so important. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the team kind of grew. So we started doing everything else ourselves, again, from A to Z. And then as the workload increased, we kind of naturally fit into what we want to do more of. And or where we see the gap is like, I don't really enjoy finance that much, but I know how to handle it, how to ask the right questions, how to look at the numbers. So I kind of took that of any as a division. And then I love product development, and this is my passion. So I'm working more on the product itself, not the design, because we're doing the design together, but like the production, the manufacturers, the artisans. I usually travel, visit them. This is now, like at the beginning, we used to do everything together. So I'm more focused on these two domains. Altaf is focusing on different things.
Yeah. So I think then, like as Sharifa said, like the divide happened naturally, and we didn't know that we had different skill sets. But this is when we started working together, we realized like we work very differently, and each one of us thinks differently and has different strengths that don't really overlap with each other. So the divide kind of happened naturally. I would say there are some areas that are very clear that this is my strength and this is her strength, and then there's stuff that we both don't like that we keep tossing each year, like you handle operations this year, and then the following year you handle operations this year. So it's like, some things are kind of like lost in between, or keep changing like between us. So I'm handling mostly the marketing, the website, the storytelling. Like I enjoy being involved in the user experience on all levels.
I love how you always address me by name when you send me WhatsApp messages and little messages together with the shoes and everything. It's so lovely, really.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, so I like anything related to the customer and how we interact with the customer. So whether it's the campaign that they're seeing, the website that they're visiting, or the customer experience when they're contacting us.
Where can people find you except your website? And obviously you have your Instagram. And so where are your selling points?
So we have our booths in 360 Mall, in Asma Mall. We're also available in Harvey Nichols in Kuwait, Harvey Nichols in Doha, soon as well in Level Shoes Dubai, which we're very excited about. So we have our physical locations.
I wanted to make sure that people hear of these places and options. Do you feel that, given how passionate and invested you are in supporting other women, do you feel that female businesses are on the rise in Kuwait? Maybe even in some areas where they weren't as prominent as before?
Yes, for sure.
Do you even look for like a female business when you... I will honestly admit that sometimes I look for all female teams. And this is not about... preference as much as it is about understanding the situation and engaging and directly helping and supporting.
Yeah. Our team is 80% women, I would say.
Yeah.
That are fully employed by us are 80% almost women.
Yeah.
We like to work with women. Even like if we work with any photographer, videographer, or any kind of agency, like if they have a team of women, we're like, okay, we're gonna get along.
And for entrepreneurship, I think definitely like most of our friends are now entrepreneurs working on
Potentially
something.
inspired by you, some of them.
Some of them we were
Yeah.
inspired by,
Well,
actually.
lovely.
Yeah, they're like very successful people that we call when we need like something. So I do see a lot of women entrepreneurs in Kuwait, around the region. Definitely there is a rise. I would say something I would like to see more is going a bit international, scaling outside of Kuwait. Like in Kuwait, there's a lot and very successful, doing amazing work.
And I think also another thing, like because the talent is there, so it's like I wish to see more of them building it as if they're building a company and not just, oh, I have designs and I'm working on the designs and then selling them, but not setting up the corporate structure for it to be built. So it's like it's still very much, I see a lot of businesses very much dependent on the owner or designer, but then it cannot scale if it's a small team or it's dependent on that.
I want to ask how you recharge and refill, because creatives need to rest in order to be able to create. What do you do? I know that Sharifa hikes, because whenever I see her in a place I've been, we exchange a little bit of, yeah.
I love hiking, and actually, it's a skill I got from one of our friends. Whenever we travel, it's like, let's go hiking, and I picked it up. So being on the move for me, it's very important. Being active, working out, going to the park, being outdoors, really
Finally,
helps
the
me.
weather for it as well. Yeah.
Yes. I used to go to the park in the summer at
Yeah,
5 a.m.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So this really helps me to recharge. I make sure like my summer trip, the time I take off is in nature and not in cities. Whether it's in the mountain or by the sea, but somewhere where it's
Has to be, yes, in
yeah,
nature.
somewhere in nature. Yeah.
And then I think also for you, socializing with friends is
Yeah,
also
yes.
big to
A great thing.
recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah, having this group of friends where you just go chill.
So
It's
healing, really.
It's very,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. Mm.
Yes. These two things, so exactly friends, having that social circle, and being active and in nature.
And no matter how much you enjoy your work, you need to get away from it for a
100%.
while.
Yeah.
What do you do, Altaf?
So,
You'll see the difference.
so I call it me time. So I like to.
I mean, whatever you're willing to share, obviously.
Yeah. So for me, nature is like if I'm taking a vacation, a long vacation to kind of recharge, it has to be in nature, whether it's on the beach or, in the middle of like greenery. I love to do that. And then other ways would be like, kind of disconnecting for me, like recharging means disconnecting. So it's like whether I'm doing like meditation or going to a spa or doing any kind of thing that gives me this quiet and disconnection from the outside world helps recharge me.
That's great.
Yeah.
So she recharges inwards and I recharge outwards. So this is
And yet you fit perfectly.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask about the plans for about the last collection you have. I'm really interested in that. If you can share a few words, and about the plans that you have, some plans you're willing to share with us about Thuna.
So the last collection is one of my really favorite collections. It's the first time that we do create our own accessory, and the process of that was not easy, but it was amazing. So we were always inspired by heritage things. Like we've done collections that were inspired by the bisht. Some were inspired by the pearl diving journey. But we wanted something a bit modern, because we like when we say culture, we cannot say always heritage. Culture is sometimes a modern thing, sometimes something you see every single day, but you're just used to it. So this year's inspiration was the Kuwait Towers. It's something that we pass by, if not every day, every week. We see it a lot. It's everywhere, but we're just used to it, in a certain way, in a certain shape. It's just towers, but we never looked in depth into the circles, into the beautiful blue pieces. So
Yeah, that cover actually
Yeah,
the
exactly. In
surface
different
of it,
shades
yeah.
of blue, and how it's been timeless since it was built until today.
Yeah.
It's still relevant.
And it actually rings a bell with different people, maybe in the ways you didn't know. My father's firm, the firm he used to work for, he's an engineer, built the towers.
Oh, really?
So to me he was a Yugoslav.
Okay.
Well,
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
it was a Yugoslav, I think the Swedish architect.
Yeah,
and
the
then,
Swedish
yes,
architect,
and then the
yeah.
Yugoslav firm built it. So to me, it's special. It's always been special, even before I came to Kuwait the first time. And when I saw this in collection, it really rings, on different things. Yeah.
So yeah, as I mentioned, we always see them as towers. So we did take we were inspired by the close-up of those towers, and we've created these beautiful accessories around the shoes. So if you see it, it's like a beautiful design. But if you hear the story about it, you will be inspired. Like, it's not kind of in your face story. It's a snapshot of a beautiful monument that we proudly pass by and see every day.
I like how much thought is put into
And I think
into the
this
product.
collection is also extra special because it's in line with our 50th-year anniversary. So we wanted to almost pay like tribute.
Feels
to,
longer, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like pay tribute to the place we started from. So it was also special for us in that sense.
I would like to ask you to, I don't want to stereotype it into like a piece of advice for someone starting, and you've shared already a lot, but just some encouragement, whoever is listening or watching the podcast, to kind of hear from you, because it seems like you're really living authentically what you wanted to achieve with your business. So what is a couple of words of wisdom or encouragement you'd be able to share with those who are starting or kind of fearing to start?
Like, it's
Besides go for it, which is definitely something you went for.
Like, for us, we just had a talk at high school, and it was very interesting. Like, we were thinking like what to share, what to say, and to me, it's like, for us and our journey is nothing that we have studied or worked on led the way to where we are today. Kind of, it did, but it didn't in a direct way. Like, we didn't study art, or we didn't study shoe design specifically. It's just, if there's one thing I would like to share, is like, whatever you do doesn't determine what you do in the future. Like, whatever you did doesn't determine what you do in the future. If you end up studying engineering, law, business, anything, just take some time to think where your passion is, even if you didn't take any art classes as a kid, or you didn't take any music classes, or just try to think what kind of connects, what makes sense to you. And the answer is always within you. It's not in your degree or your CV or anywhere else.
Thank you for these words. They're really lovely. Yeah. Would you like to add on that?
I think just building on that is that just being authentic about what you want. I mean, yes, we understand society might not be very encouraging, maybe your circle of friends are, but you can always find the right support. And then if you trust yourself and believe in yourself, then, and if you do have this curious nature of wanting to pave maybe a non-typical path, then just keep doing it, because you will get there. Again, you will not know how it will stack up and how it will make sense in the end. There's this saying that you can always connect the dots backward, but keep taking these dots and then just trust that it will connect in the end and make sense, and then you will reach a point that you're comfortable with yourself about, you're content with your life.
Thank you for this beautiful and very warm conversation we had today, and the time you shared with us. We're at the end of our talk today, but I'm very hopeful we'll see you again in
Yes,
PCC.
inshallah. Yes,
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.